Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. How do you want to start?
Do you want to just go through the list of questions from the first one?
Okay, fine.
Okay. So, what do you call yourself? What would you say your religion is?
Buddhism.
Buddhism?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kind?
I'm a Buddhist. Did I say it right, Vic? Victor, you have to come and sit next to me.
No, he doesn't.
Well, just in case I get confused.
No, it's your opinion. Victor doesn't matter.
Okay, he just stayed nearby. How's that? Just to give me the comfort level.
Okay. So you say you're strongly religious?
So we got to number one. Are you okay with number one?
Number one is good. Would you say you're strongly religious? Would you say you're very religious?
Yeah, you say Buddhism, right? That's what I practice.
Yep. Would you say that like you practice a lot? Okay, we're good. So how strongly do you identify? Do you say that you are really strongly Buddhist, or how big a role does it play in your life?
I don't know how big of a role would be because I think I really never really learned a lot about it, but I think I practice them
Mm-hmm.
because I think Buddhism overall is just I try to it's a teaching thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it just teach you to be a good person, compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
So I practice that all the time.
So it's something that you feel is present very much in your life?
Sure, yes.
Because you can practice it in like the little things in the ordinary.
Right, exactly. Everything you touch, everything, surrounding you,
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day living
Mm-hmm.
type of thing.
So what would you say are the most important parts?
Out of the whole thing, out of the whole religion.
Well, for you.
For me,
Yeah.
it's like the biggest part would be, let me see, what would I say? Well, again, I would say, compassionate.
Mm-hmm. So being able
Right.
to practice.
Care,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And then I think in like Buddhism, I think another thing is what I'm trying to learn and try to achieve now is like a detachment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when you are so attached, then you are controlling.
Mm-hmm.
So by practicing detachment, you actually try to develop the trusting in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Rather than controlling.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a very big part that I'm trying to learn. And I think it would be ongoing.
Okay.
It's going to take forever to get there, but I'm trying.
So would you say that like the most important part for you is sort of like Buddhism as a way of life? The important thing like being able to apply it to your daily life and.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So to you, like going to the temple or anything isn't as important as.
No, I don't think it's like you have necessary. I think to me, Buddha is in your heart. Buddha is like the energy surrounding you. It can be anything. You don't have to go to the temple, like say, every week or, all the time to be able to, achieve that or be near the Buddha. Sometimes when things bothers me, I would even just like go to my front door and just look up the sky and I can be able to pray, and call for the Buddha, and then I feel at peace.
What do you,
And yeah.
how do you mean you pray to the Buddha?
Well, it's just imaginary. I guess it's like a universal power type of thing. It's just like the Buddha is just not the statue itself. To me, the Buddha could be up in the sky, could be in the earth, could be anything surrounding me.
Mm-hmm. So do you pray to, is it like reflection? Or is it like seeking guidance?
Yeah, well, usually actually more like reflection
Mm-hmm.
or reassurance type of thing
Mm-hmm.
to give myself comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a lot of time if like things that bothers me, right,
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, I sometimes not even Buddha. I would even pray to like Mr. Savage parents pass away, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would call up on them
Mm-hmm.
and I would say, please be near us, give us power, make sure we are safe and sound, and that gives me power
Do
and
you,
I feel better.
you say you prayed to Mr. Savit's parents?
That too, yes, because to them when they pass away, it's in my eyes, in my own belief anyway, I don't know how much of the religion played the role in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's more because I feel like they already have gone and they pass on and they probably up in the sky somewhere
Mm-hmm.
that probably really looking at us, make sure we are okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's why I say like with I don't know how much this be close to our Buddhism. I think it's more like a ritual type of thing, I think.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, what I'm really interested is how religion, what your relationship to your religious beliefs or your spiritual beliefs are in your life. It's not an interview about what Buddhism is.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about what is your sense of religion and spirituality, like how it's important to you.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Do you? I think it's interesting that you prayed to Mr. Sava's parents. Do you ever pray to your own ancestors?
Oh yes, I do. But since I'm Mr. Savage parents right on our hallway, I would see them more often than my ancestor. I pray to my ancestor also, but that is something almost twice a year. We do it one time in July, and we do it another time during Chinese New Year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do, but it just because Mr. Savage's parents' picture is just right on my hallway, so I see them all the time. That's when I call on them most often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I sort of asked this already, but where's your religion most present in your life? Do you think it comes up most when you are looking for help, or does it also come up when you're happy about things? When do you think it most comes up?
Actually, yes, looking for help most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if certain thing disturbs me,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say when Mrs. Sabbath or the kids has to travel,
Mm-hmm.
I would always pray or seeking for the guidance and make sure they are looking after everybody.
Yeah.
The Buddha looking after everybody. So it's more like a lot of times it's seeking comfort.
Okay.
Yeah, seeking help.
Okay. How when you were growing up in your upbringing, how present was religion as a child, or when you were growing up in Laos?
Oh, Buddhism is the main thing for us. Really, we have temple all over the place, and I have my grandmother, which is grandpa that lives in New York. His mother
Okay.
used to own this almost like a general store, but religion stores more like it. She sells things that usually we take it to the temple for offering purpose. So she sells those type of product.
Mm-hmm.
So my upbringing is remembering her always do this thing. While in Lao we call bun.
Mm-hmm.
Bun is in our language. Okay, bun is Victor, what would you say? Offering, right? Bun. Yeah, bun is equal to offering here. So we always we do good thing. Like for instance, for example, we always take food to the temple to the monk, because the monk is supposed to be only like eating like twice a day.
Mhm.
One meal like early in the morning, another meal is like before sunset or something.
Mhm.
If they miss that, they're not going to have any food, right?
Mhm.
So we always make a point of like bring some food and bring the food, you know,
Mhm.
on time so they get to eat, because once sun setting they would not get to eat at all, and it means like they will not be hungry overnight,
So
right?
you're,
So that's like that type of offering.
mhm.
Or we see baker on the street or something, if we have something extra we share, so that's offering. So it means like we're doing bun.
So
Okay,
your family store was selling the things that people could offer to the.
the temple.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So my upbringing always involved like the temple's life, and we go to see the monk all the time. And but thing is, they, even though we were very close to the temple, but I don't think, enter, I don't think I know as much, maybe because of no one really, because we were raised almost like just say, well, you have to do good deed, good deed, good deed, but no one ever explained it to you. What does it really mean?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And all we know is just say, okay, you do good and the good thing going to come to you.
Mhm.
Like that type of thing.
So do you think the idea of karma is important?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, would you say that is where you formed most of your religious beliefs, or do you think you also formed beliefs later on in life?
I think I think it stems from good karma,
Mhm.
right? But we do expand from that, as we grow older.
Mhm.
You actually start to apply to, on your day-to-day living, but thing yeah, I would say like the good karma itself is the base of everything.
Mhm. Um, so, when you were growing up, where would you say you learned the most about your religion from your parents, from growing up in the general store?
I would say I learned that most of the stuff, most of my religion from my grandmother who had passed away,
Mhm.
the one that ran the general store, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and by going to the temple, and from the elderly people that teach there, we all usually have people that, much older, and they basically stay at the temple. And when you go there, if you don't understand something, they're always the one that guide you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So would you say that your experience with Buddhism in Laos was mostly about giving offerings to the monks and learning how to be caring and stuff like that? Is that where you learned? You talked about the idea of
Yes.
compassion.
Right.
Okay. Um, what about when you left Laos with your brothers and sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Your was that a particular or I don't want to lead you, but what
Mm-hmm.
were particular moments in your life when your religion was especially important?
Oh, yes, because, well, I don't know if like how much you know about when we tried to leave Laos.
Hmm.
It was a communist invaded country, and then we basically had to escape the country in the middle of the night. So, when we were on the rowboat, again, my religion believed that helped me to be strong.
Hmm.
Basically, because we have to row the little boat across the Mekong River.
Hmm.
Okay, and the water basically is leaking in through the boat, and it was sinking.
Hmm.
But so we kind just all looking for Buddha to guide us through that hardship. So again, it go back to we always call on them when we in need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then um, after you traveled across the Mekong, you were in a refugee camp in
Mm-hmm.
Thailand.
Yes.
You able to practice your religion there?
Yes, because our religion is pretty simple, and in Thailand they actually has like a very strong, you a Buddhism community over there,
Hmm.
and is a big. don't forget this is a very simple practice, Buddhism, because it's involve your day-to-day living,
Mhm.
right? And everything you touch, people surrounding you, again, or whatever, we
Mhm.
say you can practice it anywhere. You don't, let's say, we don't have to say we have to go to the temple to worship.
Mhm.
It can be, on the staircase of your front of your house, can be anywhere.
Mhm.
So yeah, all you have to do is just like it's all in your heart and in your soul,
Mhm.
and it's surrounding you. So it's easy.
Where would you say it's or how has Buddhism been present in the family you've created with Mr. Savith in the United States? Like, was it important for you to teach Buddhist beliefs to your children? Or,
Um, I think it was important, but I think on and on, maybe because I don't know enough, so I really never really say like teach them on or be able to explain it to them. I think a lot of things that they learn from school on their own.
hmm
I think like Vincent and Vivian and Victor, they pretty much, read up on their own, and we took them to the temple whenever important, but thing is, it's also because myself, I don't know enough. I think I don't know enough. So between Mr. Savage and I, we always try our best. Again, we use our basic of our teaching to our children was like to teach them to have good karma
hmm
all the time. And compassion is a big deal to us.
hmm
Okay. And then, I think like, also we have, Victor has an uncle who's really knowledgeable.
hmm
So lots of time, if we don't understand something, we would count on him to explain it to the children, really, because he have much more knowledge than us.
But it was important for you, for your children to still be familiar with Buddhism. That was something that you wanted in their.
Yes, right, but it's not a must.
hmm
But it's good for them to understand.
hmm Why do you think that? Why did you want to teach it to them?
Because to me, it's like all religions, the Buddhism,
hmm
because I just think like the whole concept of Buddhism is just like overall is like teaching you to be a good human being,
hmm
right? So
Yep.
that's why I think it's important for them to be familiar with that.
So you.
And it's a very peaceful religion,
hmm
you know,
Yep.
and yeah, it's a very caring religion. And I think again, it's like something that you can be practicing anytime,
hmm
anywhere. So that's why I thought it's good for the children to understand that.
hmm Um, One of the later questions I came up with was
Hmm.
when you came to America, since America is some people say that this is a Christian country. Did you ever feel unwelcome as a Buddhist?
No, actually, I don't. I never feel unwelcome because I always manage. I think, I don't know, really, when you really think about a Christian and Buddhism, I think they're similar in a lot of way too. It
Mhm.
all depends on how in depth you want to practice, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's all religion almost are the same, and they all like try to teach us to be a better person, better human being.
Okay.
With right,
Yeah.
so I never really feel unwelcome or anything. I always been able to openly discuss about our religion,
Mhm.
So
Has it ever been important for you to find sort of like a community of Buddhists? Like, did you seek out other people, other Buddhists?
yes, well, it's yes and no. Because for us, like maybe because like we have this like Victor's uncle who's nearby, and whenever he goes to the temple, he would ask if we would like to come along. If we are available, we will go. But I would not say like I put extra effort to seek our community, because again, I feel like if I want to practice Buddhism, I can be anywhere and I should be able to practice anytime, any minute, any second.
So it sounds like you're actually pretty comfortable with it, that you know how to use it in your everyday life, and
Oh yeah, yes, I think so.
that you
But
feel.
do you recall that we also have like certain level of practice, right?
Mhm.
A very true Buddhism. I think you know there's the big wheel and small wheel type of thing. I
Mhm.
don't know how. Yeah, and then and it can get to be pretty rigid. That's why I think I'm not rigid enough, so I cannot even say like like how well I can practice that, because like for instance with Victor's uncle, he doesn't drink, he doesn't play card, he doesn't do, he doesn't kill any kind of animal, doesn't step on ants or anything.
Mhm.
So for me, I think I really know very little about it and practice very little about it. But I think on and on, the good karma part, I think is the most important thing for me.
Mhm.
Other things besides that, I don't think is that critical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, have you ever felt conflicted by your religion? Has there ever been anything that troubled you or that you struggled with as far as
Yeah.
maybe belief?
Because like this thing I struggle with, because sometimes I question it too, and it's also I think it's a fear factor type of thing.
Mhm.
This thing we always say when we were growing up, or even now, we always say we do certain thing and you're going to be pibab. It's in Laotian. Pibab means what, Victor? Like do bad deed.
Yeah, like like yeah, like foolish or like
Well, you would be punished if you do this,
yeah,
right? Like a
ungrateful or like take things for granted or
like what negative, right? Basically, it's a negative
yeah,
and not
being
yeah.
selfish.
Yeah, because like sometimes, let's say, this is when we call pibab, okay?
Disrespectful.
Yeah, when you do something disrespectful to your parents,
Mhm.
this is in our Buddhism. I don't even know whether it's really truly part of Buddhism or not, or it could be just our local
Mhm.
custom type of thing. Like the elderly people always just say, "Oh, if you do something bad, you're going to be pibab." It means like then you probably when you end up not be able when you die, you're never going to be able to go up to the heaven or
Mhm.
go to hell. So it sounds more like Christian, right?
Mhm.
Type of thing. Yeah, so we always say have that kind of fear. So we usually we don't want to do anything that would make our parents mad
Mhm.
or our aunt and uncle mad or anyone that's older than us, you know,
So you're
because
basically
any kind
aware.
yeah any kind of disrespect it would mean like you had create this a negative thing in you that you're not going to be able to do better thing in the future.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I don't know what is really whether it's just our local custom thing that came from Laos or it's truly is a religion thing. Not sure. So sometimes things get intertwined there,
Mhm. And I think all religious beliefs are like that. I think every.
right? Like, if you do bad thing, you don't get to move on to a better place.
So
That's
it's
what it
more of like
is.
a being aware of the consequences of your actions.
Exactly like that. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever struggle with like particular ideas in Buddhism that you weren't sure you agreed with, or has Buddhism always been the source of more of a source of strength, or has it ever been I mean, was there anything that you weren't sure you agreed with or that you liked about Buddhism, or has it
Well,
more been you just trying to get closer to Buddhism?
I think I just try to get closer to Buddhism and I try to understand more.
Mhm.
But so far, it only been have if it's anything, always has been a source of strength for me.
But what about things like drinking? Like Atia
Yeah.
doesn't drink,
Mhm.
and that's part of Buddhism. Would you ever consider doing that? Or do you think that's an idea that's you would never do.
Yeah, that would be an idea that I would never do. I would still drinking. I think that's like it's kind of if I enjoy drinking, I'm going to drink.
Like,
All right. So I'm not going to say like what is it if you're going to one of those small wheel. If you want to practice small wheel, right? What does it call? Well, there's a part where if like you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't.
Yeah, you're part of like a religious profession.
Exactly, like that. But I'm not because I know I don't have that kind of discipline.
okay. So to you, like your personal interpretation is more important?
Yes.
Well, also adhering to the roles as defined in
Victor, shush.
Sorry. I was just saying.
Victor know more than me. Actually, you
it's a
should
matter,
interview him.
It's a matter of respecting the roles as defined,
Now you have to delete that part. Because Victor just helped me out there. Because I told you, Victor know more.
Well, the assignment is to interview a woman, not your boyfriend.
Well, no, but Victor knows in depth. I know just a good karma and only go toward my religion to find strength when I run into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of selfish though, huh?
Does it? You say it. How does it influence like your interpretation of like your experiences or life events or anything like that? Does it affect how you interpret things in the world?
Yes, it does.
How?
Because I see the world as a very good place all the time and see my surrounding as a very good place all the time. A very positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's just because I think I'm at peace with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, and I have the tendency to look at my surrounding as a very positive thing
Mm-hmm.
because but it's not like when we were talking about like, practice good karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
It actually gives, and I also look for like the Buddha for strength all the time. But sometimes I do, like, let's say if I happen to be sitting out there, really enjoying my family life, I will call on them and say, thank you for giving me this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not like I always call on Buddhas because I need help. I let Buddha know that I really appreciate that. You see, he being there for us too, all the time. So I think that helped me to look at the whole world and my whole surrounding as a very positive place all the time.
So would you say that Buddhism for you is like a source of comfort or healing or,
I would say it's like a both source of a comfort too,
mm-hmm.
because that's like my comfort zone where I feel comfortable, and healing too, because if I'm in pain, that's
Mm-hmm.
where I would call for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you say that Buddhism is really closely tied to sort of maybe like your worldview or your philosophy about the world? Would you say that is what Buddhism is mainly for you?
Yes.
Okay. How does that? What kind of influence or what kind of role does it play when you make when you make small decisions and when you make big important decisions? Is that something that you think about, or do you think it's maybe something? Does it feel more instinctual?
Well, it's actually I would say I don't say have to call on Buddha for all the decision all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really more like a life affecting life events or that type of thing. I would call on Buddha,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or for instance, sometimes I'm concerned about certain thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would call on the Buddha, but it's not like I would not say I have to call on the Buddha for all sorts of decision making process. No.
Mm-hmm. When you call on the Buddha, is it? I can only think of it sort of in the sort of Christian framework, whereas
Mm-hmm.
when Christians call on God, it's because they are looking for God to respond. Is it kind of this, is for you, is it kind of the same thing? Are you looking for
Yes,
a response?
yeah, it is like similar actually. Like for instance, and when we call, it's a, in the Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kneel down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, and we call on them for, and for us it's the same thing. We kneel down, we call on the higher power, we call on the Buddha to
Mm-hmm.
give us the power and to give us the energy and to get rid of all the evil that's surrounding us. You
So
know?
where would you say that you see Buddha responding when you call on him? Would you see then he responds?
Whether he responds or not, but I think it's make my heart feel good. I
Okay.
have a good feeling. And
So
from then, I think it just by itself, it gives you that positive energy that you feel like you can face with anything and deal with anything that
okay.
comes your way.
So it's just the act of connecting with the Buddha.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Um, does it how else does it come up in, I'm trying to think of how else it would like come up in your life. Is it like your theories about the world, or maybe the advice you give your family, or does it come up in your political beliefs or your social beliefs? Where? Mhm.
Right?
Right.
And it actually, even like with work, it apply to me at work too.
Mhm.
Like to even to just say to deal with people on day-to-day basis,
Okay. Mhm.
because remember we practice compassion
Mhm.
all the time, right?
Mhm.
And that's what it is. You sometimes you feel like certain people could be annoyed you doing at work or something, but
Mhm.
then you always find a way of say, well, maybe they have a very bad day, they have a hard time, maybe they're not feeling good, that type of thing. So you find compassion in there,
Mhm.
in that, and that you can just you just practice it.
Is that what you call? I know you've given this advice to Victor. Is that what you call being mindful when you say be mindful?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then so that way exactly being mindful.
Mhm.
Also, what with Victor, sometimes he gets stressed out, right? So I just say, because we also meditation is a big thing for us.
Okay.
Okay, so we meditate and then we'll say, Victor, just be mindful and take it a day at a time.
Mhm.
And that's what it is. So you eventually you be happier, healthier, you
Mhm.
know?
I don't know much about meditation. What can you tell me about how meditation is important to you?
Well, for me personally anyway, because Victor is very similar to me, we get very hyper.
Mhm.
We get like we worry for things that is out of our control,
Mhm.
right? And meditation actually is teaching us to, live at the moment, you know,
Mhm.
and the breathing process, the mindfulness,
Mhm.
So by living at the present and living at the moment, you practice your being mindful,
So,
right? That help reduce our anxiety level.
so is meditation is kind of like practicing your beliefs, or is it like more? Is it like learning? Is it a learning experience? What is it, or is it a therapeutic experience?
I, it's a therapeutic experience, I would say.
Okay. Um, and what do you do when you meditate? What would you say is the function or the purpose?
Well, it's just like it's just to help you relax and help you, stay mindful.
Is it something that you like, okay, I'm going to try to meditate every day or once a week, or is it something that you do when you need to?
No, I would say we try to do at least once a day,
Mhm.
unless we really run into problem or busy or whatever in the morning. We always try to, Mr. Sabbath and I anyway,
Mhm.
even just for 5 minutes, we would just like stay quiet and just do our breathing
Mhm.
and try to tame our mind,
Mhm.
Because sometimes, when you slow down, all sorts of things come to your head, right? And
Mhm.
you try, in 5 minutes, you try to do, 10 different things.
Mhm.
So you're not being mindful.
Mhm.
So what it is like, so by you try to tame your mind and try to be mindful, you can have clear mind, you know, and then you would have a fresh, well, you start, especially for us in the morning, so it would be a fresh start,
Mhm.
okay? And
So it's
we
something.
practice our breathing.
So it's almost like something that you need to do. Like you need to eat every day. You need to sleep every night. You need to exercise. You need to
Mm-hmm.
meditate. That's sort of something you need. It's like something that's central to like living as part of life.
Well, for your own, well, to me, I view it as a health, good for your mental health,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Yeah. Um, are there any other things that are, cause, so now we have meditation, you say, praying sometimes, or calling on the Buddha, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then also practicing karma, so just, like little reminders. Are there any, and then, yeah, are there any other important, like, beliefs or and you said giving offerings.
Right, keep off, yeah, offering,
What are there
and
any other parts that we haven't touched on yet that's important?
mm, not really. I think we touch everything, right? At least for what I know.
What about as a woman, you?
Oh, as a woman, Eve,
Mhm.
actually, that's a very good point. As a woman, if like, I don't know, if Victor, next time when you're here, we'll take you to the Lao temple.
Mhm.
But anyway, the Buddha, the monk that we worship,
Mhm.
always considered to be above the woman at all time.
Mhm.
Like for instance, the woman can never go near him, okay, and he always would be like, you know, a flight above us. Let's say like probably if he's sitting somewhere, when women come near him, we have to kneel down. So
Women.
he always, yeah, only woman. The man can be like on the same level,
Mhm.
but woman, we always have to stay as a distance.
Mhm.
It's not because like he's more elite than us, but it's more like meaning like because, like how a monk become a monk is like they give up everything, right?
Uh-huh.
They give up life to be with a woman. They give up, greed. They give up, all sorts of things.
Wait.
So they think about like if women go near the monk too much, it's almost like seductive.
Okay.
You like make them not pure anymore.
Mhm.
So they always want like if you go to a temple, you will see the monk will stay at a distance on the woman, and the woman always like would be couple feet away,
Okay.
and would be always at the lower level than the monk.
Mhm.
So that's why it's kind of unequal in that sense.
But to you, that's not symbolic, or that doesn't mean necessarily that there's a difference, or like a.
Different, yeah. It's not meaning like different level. It's more like I don't know. Just growing up, or we were trained to not to get near the monk.
Mhm.
As a woman, you always have to be below the monk.
But what about, so that's women's relationships to monks. What about just relationships to men in general? Does Buddhism say anything about that? About what relationships should be like between men and women?
No,
No?
no.
Did that ever bother you that you couldn't go near the monks?
Well, yeah, it bothers me sometimes, but it's okay because you were raised that way.
Mhm.
Don't forget that culture-wise, we have like we never really like question what our elderly taught, try to teach us. We just kind of listen.
Mhm.
We never really practice the critical thinking part.
Well, that's interesting because in Western culture, we don't respect the elderly, but it sounds like to you, it's like the elders are the ones with wisdom, like your
Yes,
parents and your
right.
ancestors.
Hmm.
Was that impact? Because I know in American culture, there's a lot of women have a lot of anxiety getting older. Do you think that your religion has helped you in that way?
Yes, I think it does. Yes, because to us just say, age is part of the process. And actually Buddhism is like we really not thinking about death or anything, right? Because we are living our life at the moment, as day to day, right? Every moment is a living thing. So we're not saying, say, wow, geez, I'm just turned 50, I'm old, people not go to us is a older, is wiser. You live your life. So, yeah. So it doesn't affect us now.
Is that empowering to you?
Yes.
Um, what other ways do you think your gender, do you see gender coming up in your religion?
Gender partners.
Is there anything else? Like, did you have any, women role models that you looked up to?
Well, I would say, like I said, that my grandmother who had passed away, she's like really my role model. Growing up, remembering her, like, my grandfather passed away like at a very young age. She pretty much single-handed raised my father, and he's like 5 other siblings. And so she say, and plus like she always say takes us to the temple, and I think like I say, she was really the one that probably was the one that introduced us to the religion.
In Buddhism, are there women monks?
Yes, we do. We actually call it here. We have nun, right? We have the nun, like in the Christian church, but in Lao temple we have woman nun, like we call me khao. It means like a woman in white. So our monk normally they wear yellow gown, right? Yellow robe. This woman they would wear like all white robes, and they practice the similar thing as the monk would practice. They stay in. They can go to the temple and they meditate there. But their job is like not just to learn about the religion itself. They have other role besides just practice religion. They still have to help take care of the kitchen and everything. Meanwhile, the monk doesn't really have to. The monk just practice the religion. Okay, so the woman do a little bit more. The woman monk.
Out of curiosity, would Mr. Savith be allowed to go near a nun?
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yes.
But
it's just the woman. That's a good question, Eve. And usually the nun, they are like, they are elderly women though. They're not like the pretty one or the young one. Usually like you really like old, and then when your children's already like have gone, left home or whatever, so for them is to find peace in the temple. So lots of them would go there, maybe they do a 3-day weekend type of thing, and they shave their hair, and they dress in white, and they just there to learn about the religion and practice. Yeah.
Did you ever? So have you met them in America, or was it mainly in?
Yeah, they have. We have them here. We have them in actually the temple that usually Mr. Savit and I go, and Victor go there sometime. It's right in Connecticut, and we have a pretty large community there. It's probably a couple hundred people. Whenever we have an event, that we'll see at least like 200-300 people there. Yeah.
So is there a sense that like women Buddhists are supposed to connect more to the nuns, or supposed to look more for guidance from nuns, and then men are supposed to look for guidance from the monks, or can anybody look to anyone for guidance?
Well, anybody can look toward anybody for guidance.
Okay.
And then it can even be like your peer who know a little bit more, or they can always teach you. Yeah, for instance, like I was telling you, like I always ask question because I felt like my parents really never have a chance to really explain things to me. And I feel like I lack of like understanding toward our religion, so that I try to read up on it more, so that That's why, yeah, so I always ask Victor's uncle, and he would explain it to me, what does this really mean? And, oh, another thing actually, I have to explain to you. Remember, did you take note about Boon?
Mhm.
Do good karma, right? Boon, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like, Boon actually give you, it actually help you, empowers you. Okay, you always say you do offering, you do good deed, you do good karma, right?
Mhm.
And one thing I just learned from him, he said, well, you build up all this good karma, you build up boon.
Mhm.
When you need help, you have to know how to ask for it. Ask for it. Say, oh, all this boon that we have accumulate, today I'm going to need your help. Could you, come out and help me? So it actually, it, are you still there, Eve?
Yep. But I think what's happening is it's disconnecting every 15 minutes.
Okay.
So let me
Okay.
hang up and call you back so it doesn't cut you off. Hold on just.
Oh, okay. Eve?
Okay, it's recording. Okay.
Okay. Oh, so he said how it worked. It cut you off every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So, well, because I actually discussed this with Victor just the other day,
Mhm.
and I find it interesting because this is doing a car ride home. He was teaching me. We came back from the temple,
Mhm.
and he said, we just went to the temple. We just did bun. Bun meaning we did like offering, right? We did some good karma, and he said all this bun that you had accumulated all this year, all this time that you've been doing good deeds.
Mhm.
When you need to call for help, you have to be able to call up to the Buddha, say, Buddha, I have been doing all this good thing. Now today I really need your help. Can you help me?
Mhm.
And ask him to, help us to face our life situation, right?
Mhm.
So I was using this analogy with Victor. I say now I understand because I always thought that you do good karma, you don't ask, you don't seek for return. But
Right.
in a sense, it's just a mental thing. It just say, well, if you need help, you have to learn to ask people for help. So it just empower you, I think.
Mhm.
You know,
Do you think in that way it helps connect you to other people to create sort of a support network?
that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Because a lot of time I think, sometimes we feel proud of say, well, geez, don't other people, right? We did good thing for good deed to other people. We help other people, but we never say go and ask them for help when we need help,
Mhm.
and we kind of kept things to ourselves, right? And struggle on ourselves.
Mhm.
This actually empower us to say, well, geez, I really need help, and I'm going to ask for help.
Mhm.
I think it's like empower us that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Getting back now to a little bit of gender, do you think that Buddhism has influenced you or informed your ideas about gender equality, or what a relationship should be like between women and men in general? Or do you think?
Well, if we truly talk about just Buddhism itself and my I think culture play a role too, not just like because of the religion itself.
Mhm.
Um, I think we feel like wow, the women and men are really not equal
Mhm.
because like this is like speaking in like a with us ourselves. I changed a lot already because I've been in this country for a long time.
Mhm.
All right, but if you would go to some of my old relatives' house and you still see like where they practice when they practice the Buddhism a little bit more stricter,
Mhm.
I think they feel like the woman's really not equal to the man.
Mhm.
You know, for example, even like if oh okay, this is a very good example actually when you go to the temple and do this or do your offering, right? You don't get to eat until the monk's done eating.
Mhm.
Okay, the man can be able to eat at the same time as the monk, but not the woman.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not equal there.
Mhm.
All right. But for us, we didn't feel like, it's not right or anything. We just feel like, oh, because that's our culture and that's how we were raised.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you said that now you believe that more that men and women are equal or should be equal.
Yes, it should be equal.
But then,
Because I changed, Eve. I've been here a long time.
but
I think I think the culture here have like changed me quite a bit.
But do you think that means that there's not room for gender equality in Buddhism, or do you think that you've interpreted Buddhism? I mean, have you interpreted Buddhism to support that belief? I mean, do you see how Buddhist belief could support the idea of gender equality? You know, as far as like the idea of compassion and stuff like that, compassion for everyone.
Yes, I can see that we can have the same equality in men and women.
Mm-hmm. But
Yes.
you don't think that your ideas about equality came from Buddhism. You think they came more from American culture.
That's right.
Okay. But you don't think that do you think that that idea is in conflict? I mean, you obviously don't. If if you believe in gender equality and you also believe in Buddhism, they're obviously not, conflicting ideas.
No, I don't think it's conflicting ideas. Well, maybe in my view anyway, it's not conflicting
Mm-hmm.
because it's individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's when if you feel like you and men are equal, it will be equal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think religion, I don't think it would be like control you, say like, well, if you become equal to the man, you become a devil or anything. No, Buddhism doesn't do that, doesn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman definitely say it would be equal to the man.
Mm-hmm. Um, does hmm. I'm just going back through some of my questions. Do you have the questions in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Is there anything else in those questions that you want to talk about that maybe we haven't talked about yet?
Let me see. I'm trying to look at it quickly too.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
Well, the part did we cover? Does your religion seems close to you, familiar, accessible? Yeah, we talk about that, right? Because I talk about the temple in Kent, in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so we're good there. I think we cover everything. Eve,
Okay.
do you have enough to write your paper?
I think so. Let me look. What about this very last question? How closely do you think your religious identity is tied to like an Asian American or a Laotian American identity? Like, do you think that being in America, you're more religious than you might have been in Laos because because you see it as tied to your culture as well as your religion? I mean, does it sort of play a dual role, or do you think it's really just more of a religious thing and not much about culture?
I think it's like I think it's more of a cultural though.
Mhm.
Because like I say, we had changed so much since we've been here, right? But all those we try to practice whenever we can,
Mhm.
whenever we go to the temple.
Mhm.
But I think overall, it doesn't really change me in any way.
Mhm.
It's just like we can practice the religion anywhere, anytime,
Mhm.
because it's just right here surrounding us. It's in this house, is everywhere, you know. So no, no.
Have there ever been any sort of like Buddhist values or ideals that sort of conflict with maybe so-called American ideals? Like, do you ever feel like you have to struggle between like American, like the idea of the American dream or other kinds of American values? Do you ever think that they don't necessarily agree with Buddhist values, or do you think that they're pretty harmonious?
Well, I think it depends on how do you look at it, right? I think a lot of time like Americans' ideal is sometimes we look for just material goods.
Mhm.
In Buddhism, we look for, how would you say it? Not material good. More like spiritual good.
Mhm.
Like how comfortable, how happy you are. A smallest thing can make you happy, right? Like, we were talking about it the other day. We were sitting by our garden, just looking at the flower, looking at the sky, look at the bird. We are happy.
Mhm.
And but a lot of people in like America is like people like struggle, being miserable sometimes. I think it's due to the greed and the capitalism in them.
Mhm.
And I think our religion is like teach us to be more at peace with ourselves.
So you see your religion as sort of helping you cope with that part of American culture?
Yes.
Another, just, that comment you made about sitting in the garden and enjoying the,
Mm-hmm.
in your sort of religious beliefs, when you were talking about the Buddha, like the Buddha is, I think you said earlier, I mean, correct me if I'm
Mm-hmm.
misquoting you, but, you were saying like the Buddha is everything, it's in everyone and everything you touch.
Mm-hmm.
Is it do you have this sort of the idea of things being sacred?
Yes.
Okay.
Like in the soil, in the water, in anything, exactly.
Mhm. Um, I think we're good. I think I'm out of questions.
Well, work on your paper,
Okay.
and then we can fine tune that. If you run into a problem or something, you need to be, need to clarify or whatever.
Okay.
Drop me an email or something, or like, yeah, just drop me an email, and I try to be good about checking it. Well, you got my office email, right?
Yeah, I do. Actually,
If you send it to the office one, I'll check it all the time.
I just thought of one.
Here, let me write it down here. I'm going to put it right on, okay? We can
Oh, okay.
chat, baby.
Yep,
How do we do chat? Love?
in this window.
This one here?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. I'll write
I
that down.
check this one more, at least because it's a work one, so I will see it, then I can answer.
Um,
Fast.
I did just think of one more question. In some of the readings we've been doing, women have maybe rejected their religious beliefs because they felt excluded by it. They didn't feel that women really had a place in religion. Have you ever felt excluded from your religion because of your gender? Or not really?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Alright, that's good.
So you good? I'll let you chat with Victor now?
Yeah.
Or you want to do more work?
I'll talk to Victor, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Call the house phone.
It was really good talking to you, Miss Sabbath. Thank you.
Same here.
I really appreciate
For
it.
the house phone, Victor said.
Oh, house phone? Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Victor going to call you.
Oh, okay. Let me go get my phone.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Miss
Take care,
Sabbath.
Eve. Bye.
Bye.